Hey everyone, what I've got here is the Easy Flash Omega, and next to it I've got the older Easy Flash Reform and the Easy Flash 4, which they called the Easy Flash 4 Micro SD because older versions had like mini SD and different ways of storing games. This is the one that I want to talk about in this video, and if I jump over to my browser you can see here, this is for Game Boy Advances, but there is it can be used in the original Nintendo DS that accepts GBA cartridges. And you can see here, GBA game, copy and play, no client needed, fast patch engine, instant game load speed, hardware-based direct save to SD, cheat, save states, real-time clock, sleep, hotkey customizable, PS RAM support, NOR flash, keep your favorite games. This can actually play Game Boy Color, Game Boy and original NES. It's got a built-in emulator for that, so it's very, very good. And it supports FAT16, FAT32 and exFAT up to 128 gigabytes, which is kind of overkill because I've got 32 gigabytes in mine and I think I'm only using about 9 gigabytes, so you really don't need that much. This was the one that I've got sitting here. This one. This was kindly sent to me by Levitech Retail, and these guys have been awesome to me over the last few years. They're fantastic. I originally bought a couple from them, the original Easy Flash 4 from them, but they've actually sent me some over the last few years as well. This is a sales page. You can see here that they sell it at £25.99. And they throw in a few gifts along the way. As always, they always do. So they're great. They've got a fantastic reputation. So many thanks to those guys. These guys have been selling the Easy Flash range for many years. They're very reliable. Very, very reliable. And yeah, they've got a very good reputation. So I can vouch for these guys. So many thanks to them for sending the Easy Flash Omega, this one out. But, you know, if I look down here, these are all the boxes I've got. These are all the boxes I've got over the years. From Easy Flashes, and they always send the same things. This one here, this is the you can replace, I don't know if you can see it here, but you can, there's basically the actual circuitry is just down the bottom here. That this is just like a grip, and you can take this out and just insert it into this one, and this allows you, you know, you take the back off, take the circuit board out and attach it to this, and this would allow you to use it with a Nintendo DSi, Nintendo DS. Yeah, it's not something I've tried myself, so I don't know too much about that if I'm honest. They always throw in some Haribo, they throw in a Game Boy Advance case, which is always good, and they've got a micro SD card reader, which I'm not usually a big fan of these ones. I prefer the traditional style, if I'm honest. I prefer, you know, this kind of idea. I prefer that. But it's good that they do throw it in. It's always good. It's a freebie, so all good. So many thanks again to Levitech Retail for sending me that. So before I show you the actual cartridge and I show you it working, I just want to take a step back and show you what's inside. So you can see here the original cartridge was like a full circuit board, if you will. These ones, you can see the circuit board has got smaller. So what I'd like to do is take off the back, and I just want to show you the difference between them. What I will say with all of these Easy Flashes over the years is that I've always hated the micro SD card slot. I just don't like it. It's kind of, it's not got a clicking mechanism. It's just a pain. This one doesn't have a micro SD slot, a micro SD card in just now because I took it out, I formatted it, and I put it into the new one. From a design point of view, well, you know, the first one had the sticker, then it went for the black style, and now they've got pretty much the same design as before, as the Reform, but they've went for this kind of see-through thing. It actually makes it a little bit harder to see the Easy Flash logo, but yeah, it's pretty cool. You can see the battery in there. Now, as far as the insides go, well, you know, the one thing you probably remember about this, and this cartridge, the original with the micro SD, this one was the battery was powered by your Game Boy, so you had to actually charge it up. This one, the new one, the Reform and the Omega, I'll get that open just now. These ones have replaceable batteries, so you can just put in just a very cheap you know, like 20 cents, 20 pence watch battery. You don't have to worry about it not recharging properly, which was a problem with this one. So what I'm going to do is take these off and show you what's inside. So I've got the 3 cartridges here, the Omega, the Reform, and the older Easy Flash 4 with micro SD. And you can see the older one, this is the one that had the rechargeable battery, and in principle that sounds great. You use your Game Boy, and when you're playing the game, when your Game Boy Advance, sorry, and when you're playing the game, it recharges this battery. Now, for me and for many other people, we ran into a lot of problems because if you use this and you just switch it on and off, then it wasn't charging the battery up, which meant it couldn't save games, and it was just a pain. So you could still play it, but it couldn't save any games. This is why in this version, the Reform, they changed it and they opted for a little watch battery, and you can see it in there. So you can see my 16 gigabyte card in there. That's for the Reform. This one, obviously, the older one is much larger. And you can see now, this is the new one. You can see the battery is very, very different. It's a much larger battery by the looks of it. Still be very cheap to pick up. So I don't know if that, you know, means longer battery life. I don't know. These things, it's hard to kind of test in practice because, the nature of, you pick this up and you play it for a few hours and then you don't play for a week. This one actually says Omega there. Just noticed that there. As far as putting it on, and these things they're very easy, to take apart. Is one screw. Just get a little Phillips screwdriver. Very easy to take apart. But you can see here that what they've done this time is change it a little bit. You can see I've got 32 gigabytes here, which is kind of a waste if I'm honest. Yeah. So I'm not someone who actually tinkers with this stuff, and I realise I'm touching the contacts and all that. I probably should clean it a little bit, but for the purpose of this video, I won't because I want to speed things up. So that's the difference between it. We've got the Easy Flash 4 micro SD, the Reform, and the newer Omega. And you can see, oops, you can see I've got the SD card here. So what I'm going to do now is put these back on and then show you what it's all about. So I've put the cases back on. And I want to just quickly touch upon what you have to do to actually install this for the very first time. It is very, very easy. And the instructions are there. What you do there, you go to the download page on easyflash.cn and you download the file. Now, you can download a cheat library. You can download a thumbnails pack as well. This isn't something I've done. I don't think it is something I'm going to bother with, but it is there if you want to, because as you will see, thumbnails are built into the Easy Flash Omega, as are cheats. Now, if you go over to the manual here, this shows you exactly what you need to do, and essentially just format your SD card. You create 2 new folders, IMGs and cheat. You put your games onto the micro SD card. You take the micro SD card out, put it into the cartridge, put the cartridge into your Game Boy Advance, and then when you're booting, you just push R when you're powering on. So you press the R key and then you power on. Now, I've did a few videos about Easy Flash before. If you're unsure about this, you can follow an installation guide I did a few years ago. These are my previous reviews of the original one, the one with the micro SD and the Reform. But this guide here is for the original Easy Flash 4, but the installation process is very, very similar as far as installing, downloading the files, extracting it, putting it onto the micro SD card, and then installing it by pressing R when you're booting up. So, because I have taken the micro SD card out of there because I couldn't find the one I was looking for, I'm going to focus on these two. I'm going to focus on the older one, the Reform, and the new one, the Omega. Now, these two, if you refer back to my previous videos, you'll probably know that these have Very similar menus. In fact, even though I don't have games in this, I can actually show you that. So this is the original. This is the original, if I can get it. This is the original Reform Easy Flash. Sorry, not the Reform. This is the Easy Flash 4 micro SD. And you can see the menu now. It's not coming up properly because I don't have the micro SD card inside. But you can see the kind of menu that it's coming up. Now, if I put... in fact, what I'll do, I'll put it into this one. I'll put it into my micro because we might get a better picture. Okay, and then I'll bring this down a little bit. Hopefully the lights aren't. Are the lights showing? Yeah, the lights are a little bit hard. Yeah, that's a little bit better now. So this is the Easy Flash 4 Reform. And again, I do appreciate this is a video about the Omega, but I think that a lot of the people who would be buying the Omega already have either the Reform or the Easy Flash. And this menu system is very similar to the one that was on this, you know, almost identical. It was the same menu system, same operating system, firmware, whatever you want to call it. And this one worked really well. I was a big fan of this. And you know, I've organized my games in all these Easy Flashes in the same way, in that I put like my best games in 0 to 9 and all that at the top, and then I go A, B, C, D, like that. One of the reasons to do that is because of the limitation that, you know, of the Easy Flash. It can only store so many files in one directory. In the past, it wasn't much. You'd maybe get to like B or C, and then it wouldn't list any more games. I think in the newer one, you get further along, but just from an organization, from a navigation point of view, I always find that this is the best way to organize things. As far as best games, you can see I've got Rock and Roll Racing and Super Street Fighter 2. So this is Easy Flash Reform. Now, one of the criticisms of this one that myself and many other people said was that when you're actually loading a game, well, it took longer than this one. With this one, if you go back to my installation guide for the original Easy Flash micro SD, what you had to do was, download an application that installed games, and you basically had to pre-flash them onto the micro SD card, pre-write them on there, so that when you loaded it up, it was quicker to load. Now, it was a pain in the ass, but what it did mean was that when you played the game, it was very quick to actually load the game. In comparison, this one is doing it on the fly, actually in the cartridge, which is why it's saying progressing. Now, when you load it up again, it's a little bit quicker because it's saved, but this was one of the downsides of the Reform. You got this battery which always saved games, and it was better than this rechargeable battery, but one of the problems was that it took a while to actually load the games because you were doing it on the fly. But as far as playing games and all that, see, I can't see dust on the screen here, but it picks up in the camera. As far as playing games and all that, it was fine, absolutely fine. Have I got volume there? It's not too loud, is it? Yeah, so it's actually, as far as playing the games, this was great. With both of these cartridges, the older versions, I did attempt to play around it and try and install an emulator. Lots of people did it. I gave it one try and I couldn't get it working, and I gave up and just kept Gameboy Advance games on it. I'm not actually playing this just now, I'm just kind of showing you. So overall, the original, very good. Problems with saving. This one, no problems with saving at all because you can replace the battery. That all worked great. The main problem that you had was because you wrote the games on the fly, because of you, I don't know what the term is, but as far as installing the games and running the games, booting the games, because these ones were already pre-run, I don't know what the term is, but that because it's been years since I've did it, but because those ones have been flashed already, this one took a little bit longer. So, finally, after all these comparisons, let's look at the Omega. And I realise I've kind of dragged this on, but it is important to look at where this came from. To get a better understanding of what this is about and the progress that they've made. So look at that. Right away, loading up is quicker. And as I said before, this also runs NES, also runs Game Boy, also runs Game Boy Color. Now, I don't know if you can see it there, but see the top there? If you push R, you can see you go left and right. So there's different things you can do, and there's different toggle buttons. Like if I push start here, I go to my recent played games, and that's really good. I love that idea. You know, you get to this main menu, you just push start, and you go to the last game you're playing. I love that. That is a fantastic feature. As far as here, now in this menu, hopefully you guys can see this okay. It's hard with the light sometimes. You've got a lot of different options. I actually set the time earlier, but for some reason it's reset again. So I don't know if I've did something wrong or if that's broken. I don't know if you should consider this a review of the Omega or consider it a first impressions video, because I've only been using it for a day or two. So I don't consider myself an expert on this, but I did set the time on this earlier. And I don't know if maybe I didn't save it properly, but the time is reset to 2000. That is something that I suspect is okay, and I've just not saved it properly, because this has to be okay for, you know, certain RPGs and things like that, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. As far as the add-ons go, you've got reset, sleep, cheat, and save state. You can change the language very easily, fast patch engine, and then the sleep key and menu key, and you can assign those as well. So I go back to the start. I'll start with Game Boy Advance. So I've set up the games exact same as before. So I noticed for some games, like I don't know if that... Okay, so I'm going to show you a game that doesn't work first. I noticed some of the Super Mario games that I copied over weren't working properly. I don't know if that's me. I don't know if it's a file. It's maybe the way I loaded it. But when you load, you've got clean boot. You can boot with an add-on, such as games like a cheat or save state. You can write to nor clean, write to nor add-on, and save type. So there's lots of different options here. I'm going to do clean boot. But see here, saved data is corrupt. I believe this is my file, my actual Game Boy Advance game file. Because other games, I'm not getting that problem. But right now, I don't know for sure. I'll need to double check that and test the games on other cartridges. But if I try Super Ghouls and Ghosts, which is an absolute nightmare of a game to play. I love the game, but it's so hard. And anytime I play it, I look like the worst gamer ever. Especially behind a camera and a microphone. Get the volume up. Right, get this up to the camera better. That better? Right. So, yeah, I mean, when the game loads, it loads really well. I'm trying to play this behind the camera, and it's an absolute nightmare. In my defense, it's impossible to do this behind a camera. Yeah, so as far as the game goes, it works really well. Now, I don't think, it's said there L, R, and start. I don't think I've set that right yet to reset. As far as going back to the main menu. Again, call this a first impressions video. There's still some things I'm trying to work out about this. But my first impressions are positive. If I go back to the original Game Boy games, look at that, Super Mario Land. And obviously, you know, it was a different screen size, screen ratio back in the day. I was actually trying to play it through my computer there, but there's a delay. So with when you emulate Game Boy Color, and NES, because those only use two buttons, you can push LR and you bring up this Goomba Color. That's the emulator on GBA. So that's the emulator that's being used, and there's lots of different options here. You can restart the game, or you can exit, which I actually meant to restart the game there, but I exited by accident. But what I'll do is I'll load up Game Boy Color. Let me see, Grand Theft Auto. Let's try this on Game Boy Color. So from a loading point of view, I think that this performs so much better than the Reform. It just loads games so much quicker, and it's doing it on the fly again. So they've really fixed that problem that they had with the Reform. But again, same kind of screen ratio, so they've got the black bars at the side. L and R, watch this, so I can go down, you can save state, you can load state, manage SRAM, sleep. I'm going to restart. So it restarts the game. But this is quite useful because, as you saw with the Game Boy Advance, what I was doing before was just powering it off instead of restarting it, instead of going back to the main menu. Now, there's a lot of classic games out there on the NES. Double Dragon 2. This was a game I played religiously with my little brother. We used to get into a lot of fights when we were kids because we'd beat each other up. Look at that. It plays great, and I know because if I point my microphone down, so I pointed my microphone there at the. Can you hear it? So I was conscious of the fact that you guys probably couldn't hear all the sounds there, but yeah, it is working okay. All the sounds are fine. There's no problems. Yeah, it works great. No problems with the games. So this is the NES, and as I said, when I was playing with the Reform and the Easy Flash 4 with micro SD, I tried it once. I tried the emulator, didn't work, and I gave up. And I thought, you know what? There's so many games on the Game Boy Advance, it doesn't bother me too much. But I am a hypocrite because I must admit that having Game Boy and, just for the Zelda games and some classic Mario games, having the original NES games on my on my Game Boy Micro and on my SP, it's pretty awesome. And I love the fact that this is right out the box. So I'm still figuring things like this out, you'll know that just from the way I'm talking, that I'm still tweaking things, I'm still testing things. Whenever I review an Easy Flash, I test it myself, but I always find after doing the video and, a few months later when I'm playing it, there's sometimes patches, there's sometimes other people that have run into the same problems, and there's guides as to how you switch things on and off properly. But a lot of it, I think, here is self-explanatory. If you look here, the menu key, you can move that up and down and change what sets the menu. This one is saying LR and start as far as the menu key, like that. But as I tried in the game, it didn't seem to work too well. So I don't know if that's me or not. Same with the time. Like, if I go up to the time, let's just do a test with the time. Let's set it to 2005. Or, sorry, 7. Right, 2007. So I'm just going to leave everything else the same. But we went from 2000 to 2007. Where am I? I'm doing this through my camera, so it's hard. Right, set. Okay, so 2007, go back, still 2007. So let's see if this works, and maybe I just didn't save it properly before. Maybe it was me being an idiot. Let's see. Was Kevin an idiot? 2007, right, yep. So it looks like I think what I did before, maybe I set the time and maybe I went to OK or something, or set, and then I reset it somehow. I don't know. But I don't think there will be any problems with the time, which means that any games that use the clock, the internal clock, RPGs, maybe Pokemon, things like that, it should be okay. Now, I'm not going to go through and test every single game. There are certain games in the Game Boy Advance library that always seem to present some problems. And it's it's always the same ones. Mother sometimes has problems, but by and large, the main ones that I ran into problems there was the Super Mario one. Super Mario games there. And I don't know if that was just me. Maybe it's the save file. I'm not sure. So, see that? So, I'm not sure if that's maybe the file that I've copied over when I was transferring files, or if it's the emulator. I'm not sure. But every time I do a review of an Easy Flash, this one or this one, anyone I've reviewed in the past, I always come across a couple of games that don't seem to work well. Some of them I do fix by simply copying the files back over, doing something like that. Other ones, I have to download a different variation of the game ROM itself. Maybe the one that, a lot of the ROMs that I downloaded were downloaded years and years and years ago, and sometimes people changed, they improve the ROMs. My whole library, I must admit, I've downloaded it. It could be like 15, 20 years old. I'm not even joking. A lot of the ROMs that I've got are very old. So, if you run into a problem like that, where it says save corrupt or something like that, I would transfer the file again. And if you run into any problems, I would probably recommend just downloading a different version of the ROM. I think that'd be one of the ways to improve it. Boot with add-on. So, the Super Mario games, for whatever reason I've transferred, I've got problems. I haven't run into any problems with any other games that I've tried. I've tried about a dozen or so, and again, it's hard to test all the games out there. And anytime I do a review like this, or any kind of video about the Easy Flash, people always say, what's it like with this game? What's it like with that game? Quite frankly, I'm a grown man, and I just kind of pick the games that I like, and I can't test, several hundred games. It just isn't practical. But even when there is a game that doesn't work well, there's always other games that I like, so it's not something I lose any sleep over. What's the price of this again? If I look at £25.99, free delivery with some Haribo, and it will work on the Nintendo DS and DSi. Not that I've tested it, but apparently it does. At that price, I do think that this is a fantastic purchase. Now, I've bought a couple of them myself. I've been lucky enough to be sent a few copies by Levitech Retail because, well, quite frankly, those guys are awesome. But what I have noticed with the Easy Flash is that every time they release a new one, it isn't a million times better, but they do refine it. They do fix a lot of the problems. And the last one, the problems with slow booting, this one doesn't have it. The games are loading very quickly. So if you go back to the original one, the Easy Flash with microSD, this new Omega has improved the battery situation. It loads games quicker. You don't have to load games using applications. It's just drag and drop. You really just drag and drop the games onto your microSD card, put the microSD card into the cartridge, plug the cartridge in, and you're good to go. So I realise there's some of you guys watching this that might have a specific question. This is the longest intro ever to a game, isn't it? This is the wrong game to pick. Look at this. Look at this intro. I'm going to switch this off because it's never ending. I do realise that there's certain games that you guys always want me to test. I do realise there's probably some things I haven't covered, and it is hard for me to do that because my time is limited because of work. And I just test it in the way that I'm going to use it. And what I've done is thrown on a few thousand NES games, Game Boy Color games, Advance games, Game Boy games. I've got thousands of games there. I will probably look into why some games don't work and some games don't. But overall, I'm very, very happy with this. So why I'm happy with it? Well, it gives you a lot more options as far as how you boot the game. There's a cheat option now. Granted, I've not used it yet. There's a thumbnail option. Again, something I haven't tried yet, but it is there if you want it. It's not something I care about, if I'm honest. It's got the thumbnails. It's got the cheats, but it's quicker at loading. It's quicker at, just the original menu. It's quicker at loading games as well. Navigating is so much easier than before as well. Just L and R goes between the different screens. So many different options that you can set now. And for me, they fixed the battery issue in the last one, and they've addressed the booting issues as far as how quick a game loads. But the big thing, I think, for me, going from the previous version, the big feature for me that I love, all those options in booting and improving the speed of games loading and all that. That aside, for me, it's the inclusion of Goomba Color or whatever it was called there. There's an emulator for NES, Game Boy, and Game Boy Color, which means that I've got thousands more games that I can now play on this. And some of the NES games out there are classics. You know, I remember buying, you know, I say I was buying them. I was a kid, but my mum and dad were buying them for me. And a lot of these NES games, they were like £40, £45 and things like that. These were expensive games in the day. And I remember, you know, them costing that much. And I still love NES graphics because as a child, I was coming from the Atari and Commodore 64. And I thought the NES graphics were amazing. If you're wondering why I'm so bad at this game, I'm looking at my camera and going through my computer, and there's a delay of 2 seconds, so this is an absolute nightmare. So I still haven't figured out the menu system thing. See what it's saying, LNR start? I'll need to read into that. This is something that I was hoping to get, you know, a solution to before I did this video, but I couldn't find any answer to that. I will figure it out. All in all, very happy, very happy. This is a fantastic little cartridge. If you're a retro gamer, you're going to love this. You really are going to love this. And I do realise that there's like the EverDrive is out there and all that as well. And the EverDrive sticks out of the cartridge. A lot of people say it's better, but it's also like 4 or 5 times the price. So for me, I was always a fan of the cheaper option. I like how this works. It's drag and drop. It's very easy to use. Takes a few minutes to set up, and then you've got the ultimate retro gaming machine. Up to games up to like, well, I guess the Game Boy Advance was the early 2000s. So, yeah, I consider this a fantastic little retro gaming solution. And I have no doubt that if you've got another Easy Flash, one of the older versions, and you do play your Easy Flash a lot, I think that you're going to absolutely love this. I really do. So, many thanks once again to Levitech Retail. They sent me this out of the goodness of their heart. Many thanks to them, guys. Guys, you are awesome. I really do appreciate it. They've got a fantastic reputation and it is well earned. So please do check out their eBay page. If you're looking to buy this, £25.99 with some free Haribo and a free micro SD card reader that I don't really care about. But it's all there, including this option for to make it smaller for the Nintendo DS range. So guys, many thanks. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I do realise I haven't covered every game. I do realise I haven't covered every option because I'm still playing around with this. I'm still trying to figure it out myself as far as the good things about it, the bad things about it. But all in all, love it. Absolutely love it. This is my new Easy Flash. Whenever I go travelling, whenever I've got a long, you know, train journey or airplane journey, I see all the young kids with the Switch. I'm bringing out this baby, and I'm bringing out the Easy Flash. And yeah, absolutely awesome. So it's fast booting. It's got a very easy to use menu system. It's got emulation for the NES, the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy, well, the original Game Boy and the NES. It's got a cheat system. It's got thumbnails if you want that as well. And it does it all very well. You know, in all versions of the Easy Flash, there are some games that don't work 100% correct, and there's always some little quirk or something that you find out along the way. But this isn't something I'm playing 10 hours a day. This is something that, you know, I pick up when I'm on a journey and I play it for a few hours and I put it back in my jeans pocket. And that's why I'm such a big fan of the Game Boy Micro and the SP, and why I'm such a big fan of the Easy Flash range. So, thanks for watching, guys. If you get any questions, please do post a comment below. I really do appreciate everyone who leaves a comment on my videos. Please do subscribe if you haven't already done so. And please show some love to Levitech Retail. For those, you know, those are the guys that sent this cartridge to me. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching and take care.